This is another Black Brothers production. We have another celebrity elected official on the dirty couch today. We have Senator Harold Jones II. Let's give it up for Senator Harold Jones. How you doing, Senator? Good to see you again. 2017 has brought along a few changes. We have President Trump now. How do you feel about Trump? How's everything going right now? I know it's still early, but you kind of, what's your feelings on him right now?
Well, you know, like you said, it's still early. The key thing is, hopefully it's energized people to get involved in politics. That's the key. You know, but it doesn't do anything else. That's the one thing I wanted to do. So come 2018, the most important thing for Georgians is to get a Democratic governor for Georgia. So hopefully that will make people go out to the polls and start voting. You know, this administration. One thing, we don't want the country to fall apart under President Trump. We don't want that to happen because that hurts everybody. What we ought to be saying is, even if things kind of go smoothly, we can still let Democrats, because there's a difference between Democrats and Republicans, what we believe in. So therefore, we want to make sure persons start going out to vote. That's how they won, because persons stayed home. That's the key. So if nothing else, I want persons to say, we never want that to happen again, and go out and vote.
Absolutely. Now, you're a Democrat, right?
Yes.
Now, how is it you being a Democrat, how is it you being a Democrat and the president is a Republican? How does that work?
It's not as bad because we're on the state level. So the key thing is when we have a Republican governor and you're on this particular level.
That makes sense.
So, you know, obviously these presidents that causes some issues, but it's more like big issues. When we really start talking about Medicaid expansion, that can still go through the state. It's not just Obamacare on the national level, that's also a state issue. When you start talking about how education really runs, that's more of a state issue. When you start talking about some of the issues dealing with higher education, we talk about Hope Scholarship and things of that nature. Those are state issues. So really what we do at the state level actually has more impact than what they do at the national level.
So President Trump, like a lot of the things that he's doing, like it's kind of, does that affect you all, like being politicians? Does any of that affect you all?
It affects. Okay, let's deal with issues on one level. So one big issue, of course, we know is Obamacare. So they said they're going to repeal that. It hasn't happened yet. What that did do was it put our Medicaid expansion on hold. Georgia was actually probably going to expand Medicaid. So we're actually kind of buying into Obamacare on some level. But because President Trump got elected, it put everything on hold. So that's one effect there. Now the other effect has been, you know, it's not necessarily policy, but just trying to deal with those things that they're doing up there from the standpoint of just the type of things he says and things of that nature, really demonizing the other side, which we tried not to do when President Obama was around. So that's a little bit different.
Now, how do you see it being different under President Obama versus under President Trump? Like, are there any differences that you can kind of see, like, clearly?
Well, I think one of the major differences is going to be how we handle businesses and things of that nature. Remember when we had the stock market crash? Well, after the stock market crash, we put a law in place that basically said that you cannot basically speculate with people's money. That's what happened with the stock market. You had the big businesses speculate with person's money and they lost and the economy failed.
Wow.
So we put that law in place. Well, one of the first things Trump has said is he wants to repeal that. So if he does that, he's able to do that through an executive order, then what that means is these big companies again can start speculating with our money again just like before, and we could be looking at another financial crisis. So that's one thing right there.
So we don't want that.
Absolutely not.
A lot of people say, you know, Donald Trump is like the businessman. A lot of, you know, both sides, blacks and whites, they voted for Donald Trump because of the business. Like, do you see him being more business savvy?
No, not necessarily. I guess he filed bankruptcy, 2 or 3 times. And you business savvy. I guess that has some savviness to you there. You know, if your father gives you $1 million, between $1 million and $10 million, I guess that helps you be business savvy. Where he gives you property up in New York, which of course property is very valuable up there. So there's a lot of things that kind of help you become business savvy, so to speak. And you have companies that necessarily fail. So I'm not saying that he's a terrible business person, but you also have to remember something. There's a difference between business and government. It doesn't work the same way. You know, if it did, then business would do the things that government does. You know, business doesn't have schools. Businesses don't allocate money necessarily to build roads and streets and things of that nature. Those are things that government does. So there's differences there. So being good at one doesn't make you good at the other. And then it's a question about how good really was he at the other, right?
That's true. Now, you're our senator right now. You're the senator of District 22, right?
Correct, which is all of Augusta, basically. Just a couple of precincts here and there I don't have.
Okay. So, they don't have like limited terms for senators, right?
No term limits. No term limits.
So are you looking to be reelected?
Yeah, come up again in 2018, get reelected there, and then we'll come up again in 2020. And that might be the question mark in 2020. There may be a couple of judgeships that are open that I might try to go after then in 2020, but certainly 18 without a doubt, running for reelection for District 22 for Senate. 2020, we'll start seeing what happens.
So you want to be a judge?
Well, potentially down the line.
Judge Jones, Senator Jones.
Down the line, yeah. Potentially down the line, absolutely.
That's what's up. Now, have you endorsed any bills before?
Yeah, absolutely. One bill I have pending now is Senate Bill 105, which deals with marijuana, which we can kind of talk about. But also last year we got passed through the Senate and got a study committee passed to deal with cyber. We've heard about Augusta getting $50 million in cyber development. So I did a bill, which was going to be a study committee to look at that issue. And so this year, the committee will actually get funded, we believe, and therefore we can actually look at some particularities regarding cyber, how it affects young people, basically, from the standpoint of giving scholarships and things like that. So what we want to do is find out how can Georgia give scholarships for children, not for children, for high school students, college students, in the area of cyber. That would directly affect Augusta. So we've had two things going on, that particular piece of legislation, then of course we got the $50 million from the state to kind of enhance our cyber presence, not only in the state of Georgia, but throughout the country.
Wow. Now, this Senate Bill 105, it's like a hot button topic, again, throughout the city.
Right.
I know in my inner circles, I'm from the projects, the hood or whatever, so they're like, Senator Jones is trying to help us out, man. He's trying to help us out with the marijuana. So what exactly is the Senate Bill 105?
Well, Senate Bill 105 says currently in Georgia, if you got up to an ounce of marijuana, it's a misdemeanor, which means you can get 12 months probation or a $1,000 fine. Then after 1 ounce, anything above 1 ounce is a felony, which means, of course, it's a felony, which your fine can go up, and of course, you can go to jail for, I think, about 5 years. So, for first anyway. So what this bill does is, if it's up to a half ounce of marijuana for possession only, it'll be a fine only, just $300 fine, no more than a fine, $300 fine. And then if it goes up to 2 ounces possession only, again, it would just be a misdemeanor. And the value of that is, if you get a felony, you lose the right to vote, lose the right to sit on jury, no hope scholarship, and of course the stigma of having a felony on your record is tremendous, so it really hurts people. So what we're trying to do is give persons an opportunity. Probably really doesn't go as far as like some people would like, you maybe I would like, but it's something that maybe realistically you can get through.
Now with the, so if you get caught with like a couple grams and things like that, you don't have to worry about getting incarcerated with that bill being passed.
Right, correct. Up to 1/2 ounce would say fine only. So that's all you get is just a fine of up to $300. So you wouldn't have to worry about any kind of jail time. And the thing about it is, it's not really unusual. 42 states either do not prosecute felony marijuana possession or their limits are higher than Georgia's. So we're really in the minority in that sense. And so we got to do a better job than that. And quite frankly, I think that's one of the issues that African Americans, criminal justice reform, the governor's done pretty good with that, but this drug issue is one that we really should be on top of and demanding changes, especially as far as marijuana is concerned.
Now, how do you how would you stop like the drug dealers? Because it seems to me like that would actually help the small drug dealers out as far as, okay, I want to sell drugs and now I don't have to worry about jail time.
No, it doesn't do that. It doesn't do that because if you determine to be selling drugs, it still is the standard fines and things of that nature. Selling is a felony. Doesn't matter how much you sell, it's a felony.
Okay.
If the police or the state thinks you're selling, it could be a 1/2 ounce, it could be less than a 1/2 ounce, it is selling, that's a felony. This doesn't touch that at all. All this says is if the state believes that all you have it for is possession only, no matter if it's a 1/2 ounce, up to 2 ounces, the only reason you have it is for personal use, up to 2 ounces you won't get a felony. That's the key thing. That's what we're trying to prevent. If all it is for possession only, don't give a person a felony.
Now, are the people included on this process of passing the bill, or does it have to go through like all the different branches?
It just has to go through the Senate and the House, and then of course the governor then has to sign it. And I think it fits the criminal justice reform that we've been doing a pretty good job with. But one of the things we've done is we said, okay, if you get arrested, then we might send you to drug court. Well, first of all, everybody didn't go through drug court. And secondly, the thing about the drug war, the thing about it is basically, it makes us all criminals to some extent. It makes us all appear to be criminals. When a police officer stops your car and he's kind of looking in your car, he's not looking for a murder weapon. Because he's looking for drugs. So it almost makes us all criminals. It changes our whole dynamic relationship between the police and the citizens. So there's a lot of reason trying to make these changes. And one of the things you see is throughout the country these changes are being made. whether some states are actually legalizing it, some states are actually upping the amount, some states are even saying we're not going to prosecute possession only for felony. What would be the rationale for saying if you possess it, we're going to give you a felony?
Mm-hmm.
The only rationale would be that it's a health concern. That we're trying to protect your health. Well, if that's the key, if it's a health concern, then why do we make possessing tobacco a felony?
That's true.
Because more persons die from smoking cigarettes worldwide and in the United States than ever possibly die from smoking marijuana. How about alcohol? Why we make that a felony?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Possession only. We're not talking about selling it. We're not talking about bootlegging. We're talking about if the only thing you have before is possession. What is our logical reason for saying you can't possess it? Because we want to protect your health. But yeah, we have all these other things out there that are more dangerous to your health. They're not only not illegal, they're not a felony. And that's the key.
Now, if this bill is passed and it becomes a statute, what would that do to the guys who've already been incarcerated for those, small crimes and things like that? Like, do they get some time off or?
Well, a lot of persons probably weren't necessarily incarcerated for it, but I understand your point. Could they go back and get it expunged? This bill would not touch that. And you've seen that happen. You've seen that happen in other states, unfortunately. I understand the point that you're making. It wouldn't be anything that I would be opposed to. Let's say you had first lifetime marijuana and we upped the amount to 2 ounces. Let's say a person had 1.5 ounces. Could it be something that they could go back to and say, hey, can we amend this to be a misdemeanor? The answer is this bill would not allow them to do it. The other answer is there's no legal justification, there's no legal requirement to let them do it. And I doubt you could get a bill like that passed through. Which is unfortunate, because I understand, forget about Georgia, think about the persons who actually legalized marijuana. Think about all these people that have gotten felonies and their state now legalizes marijuana.
See, that was going to go to my next question. Like, is your end goal to legalize marijuana in Georgia?
No, that's not necessarily my end goal, because it still is a mind-altering substance, right? So it's still a mind-altering substance. So the key thing is, do you want to have all these different mind-altering substances running around in the community? That's the question.
Gotta know.
But the question becomes, okay, that's fine, it's a mind-altering substance, but does it deserve felony treatment? That's the question, because like we talked about, alcohol is a mind-altering substance. Heck, you smoke enough cigarettes, it can mind-altering substance. So all of these other things which are mind-altering, we're not giving persons felony on, and that's where I'm coming from.
What other bills can we look forward to coming out of, coming from you?
One of the big ones, one of the ones I co-sponsored was a civil rights bill, which basically, Georgia doesn't have a civil rights bill. Now, of course, the federal government covers most of it. But we recently just put in a civil rights bill, which I was one of the persons who signed on to it, which would basically say that, you can't discriminate in housing and things of that nature. But not only would it be for race, but also be for gender and for sexual orientation. So that's kind of a new bill that we actually have out there. So we want to try to get that pushed. And then from there, you just try to find ways. I think DUI law may be another one that we're going to try to make some impact on. That goes through my committee. Last year, I was a subcommittee chair on one of the DUI issues. So that's going to be coming back up. So we'll see where that goes. Try to be a little bit more stringent on DUI because, that's a big crime. So just some things like that we'll be looking into.
Now, what else can we look forward to that's coming up that, it may not be known to everyone in Augusta?
Well, I think it will be known to everybody. The education piece is going to be coming back up. We beat up back OSD, but there's going to be another bill this year
to
real? Talk about it. But you guys y'all won't have the opportunity to vote on it. This will go straight to the legislature.
Okay.
And this one here is going to say, once again, either give persons school choice or possibly have a mechanism to take schools over. Before, we tried to do it through constitutional amendment. Now, it's talked about just trying to go through the legislature. So that's going to definitely come back up. The governor said that's one of the things he wants to push. So we'll see. That bill hasn't been dropped yet, so we'll see what it comes out. But it has to be pretty soon because all bills have to get passed by March 3rd.
Now, we didn't do this last time Senator Jones was on the Dirty Couch, and I definitely want to do it this time. I want you to look in the camera because you're a black man from Augusta, Georgia. You went to Glen Hills. And I kind of want you to speak to the young black male that's watching this and kind of give him encouragement and kind of tell him how you got to the point that you are right now, because you came from the same streets we did.
Oh, absolutely. Came from the exact same streets, went to the same places, etc. I mean, the fact is you just got to go out there and work hard. Take chances. That's the key thing. You got to make sure you take a chance. Take the chance to go to college, take a chance to go to law school, take a chance on taking a bar exam. All of those things are taking chances. Take a chance on building your own business, whatever it may be. That's the key, is make sure you take chances. And it's a competition. And the question becomes, You know, who's going to win out in that competition? And it's you against you against everybody else. And the fact of the matter is, you know, I came straight from Glen Hills High School, you know, and right there from public school. And so there's no doubt that everybody out there is getting a good education. Just make the best of it.
Absolutely. This has been another Black Brothers production on the Dirty Couch with Senator Harold Jones, soon to be Judge Jones. Let's keep that in mind. We want to thank our sponsors Nationwide and our other sponsor, Tax Bar. Thank you all so much for tuning in.
This is Senator Harold Jones II with the Blair Brothers. Don't forget, tune in to the Dirty Couch and hear good ideas and good things for Augusta, Georgia.